got you.
Alright, since everybody wants to talk to me, I don't know whose car this is, but come over here.
How are you feeling?
I'm doing great.
Can you tell us what happened?
Nothing happened.
Were you involved in a crash?
No.
Why were you at the police station?
There's no reason. I had to go handle something and talk to somebody. I was talking to a friend who's locked up in there, and that's what I went to go do. Like, if I did something, I would be in jail right now. Like, I didn't do anything. So we need to, if you guys want to talk about me, like, let's make these stories a little bit better, and let's put me in a better spotlight to stop making me seem like I'm some badass criminal. Because that's not who I am. I'm a good person. I've never done anything. I've never hurt anybody, and I'm not that type of person. So let's start replacing these stories. That's your story, all right? Get out of my face now, please.
So Aldon Jakari Smith was born in Greenwood, Mississippi back in 1989. But when Aldon was around 2 years old, he moved to Missouri. As a toddler, while being watched by his great grandmother, Aldon snuck out of her sight and he reached out and burned himself in an open flame heater. This obviously injured his hand pretty seriously. It also kind of foreshadowed Aldon's future of constantly playing with fire.
Yeah, you'll never know quitter, 'cause I'ma go get her.
Yo, if you enjoy these videos, don't forget to click the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and enable your notifications by clicking this little bell so YouTube will let you know when your boy uploads. So during his senior year in high school, Aldon racked up 60 tackles, 12 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, a blocked punt, and a safety. Then on offense, where Aldon played tight end, he caught 34 passes for nearly 600 yards and 4 TDs. Aldon was ranked as the 5th overall best recruit in the state of Missouri, and though he considered Nebraska, Kansas, and K-State, he ultimately decided to attend the University of Missouri. After a redshirt year, Aldon started as a redshirt freshman in 2008. It's crazy, but this cat nearly matched his senior year of high school numbers as a freshman. Think about that. In his senior year of high school, he put up 60 tackles and 12 sacks, right? Well, in his freshman year of college, he put up 60 tackles and 11 sacks. That is insane. It was crazy enough to get him Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year, and Aldon was really starting to make a name for himself. Unfortunately, his stats dipped the following year though. Aldon broke his fibula early in the year, but missed only 2 games. Still, not at 100%, he was only able to muster 48 tackles and 6 sacks, which is obviously a step down from the previous year, but when you add him being keyed on more and him being injured, those numbers are still very good.
Aldon, you break your fibula. I had 2 players that did that in the pros, tough guys, that missed 6 to 8 weeks, because that's how long it takes for a bone to heal and feel well enough to be functional. 3 weeks and you were back.
3 weeks.
How's that?
I wasn't 100% when I went out, when I came back, but I was able, enough percent where I could help out. You know, I got an interception my first game back. I got caught, but I got an interception. Yeah, I just love the game. I think that's definitely one of the things that helped out.
Aldon's college coach spoke very highly of him. He insisted and was very clear that Aldon had 0 disciplinary issues during his time at Missouri. So when did the problems arise? Coming up in the story.
With the 7th pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Aldon Smith, defensive end, Missouri.
Aldon wisely decided to go pro after his redshirt sophomore season. He was drafted in the 1st round as the 7th overall pick, and during his rookie season, he ate, bro. His very first sack as a professional was on one of the toughest quarterbacks to sack back in 2011 at least. That quarterback was none other than Michael Vick. Vick was Aldon's first sack, but would be far from his last, as he went on to record 14 sacks as a rookie. He broke the 49ers rookie sack record, and he came 1/2 a sack shy of breaking the all-time rookie sack record. 1/2 a sack, bro. Pro Football Writers of America named him Defensive Rookie of the Year, but the Associated Press had him finishing second to none other than Von Miller. In 2012, during his second season, he became the fastest player in NFL history to record 30 sacks, surpassing the legendary Reggie White. This was Aldon's best year as a pro, as he racked up 19.5 sacks, a pick, 3 forced fumbles, and 66 total tackles. The 49ers would go on to make it to Super Bowl 47, where they lost a hard-fought battle to the Ravens. After that season, Aldon was ranked as the 7th best player in the league on NFL Network's Top 100 list. Dude was at the top of his game. Now, when Aldon was a kid, his dad noticed that he had a lack of discipline. Aldon's dad, a military vet, obviously took issue with this, so he began to enforce a little bit more of a strict type of discipline on Aldon, and it seems to have worked. Once again, Aldon's coach at Mizzou said that he never had any issues with him, and his first year and a half in the league, things were going great. But maybe the success started to go to his head a bit, and he began to rebel from the structure that his dad had set for him. That is only a theory as to why Aldon seemed to spiral out of control. So while that theory could be incorrect, the fact remains, a man just seemed to self-destruct.
Here, 49ers linebacker Aldon Smith arrested Thursday night for hit and run, DUI, and vandalism, according to the police in Santa Clara, California. This is Smith's 3rd arrest for drunken driving.
In 2012, Aldon had already been arrested for driving under the influence. A few months later, he was stabbed at a party and was charged with illegal possession of an assault weapon. Aldon never took full responsibility for either of these situations, always kind of seeming to point the finger at someone else, saying that it could have been handled differently on the other person's part. And he made a valid point, saying that since he was the one who got stabbed, he didn't understand how he was being seen as a troublemaker. But as we briefly go through the rest of these charges, you'll see Aldon always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it seems to be due with the people he decides to associate himself with off the field. Aldon looked great at the start of his 3rd year in the league, recording 4.5 sacks through his first 3 games. But on September 20th, 2013, Aldon had a single car accident and afterwards was arrested again for driving under the influence and possession of marijuana. Despite that, Aldon still recorded 8.5 sacks that season. There's no denying that this dude was an absolute beast. Unfortunately, over the next few years, Aldon would continue to self-destruct.
A San Francisco 49ers player arrested. Aldon Smith in trouble for making bomb threats at the airport. The NFL star described by security as, quote, belligerent and uncooperative after he was randomly selected for a second screening while waiting in line at Los Angeles International Airport. Caught on tape yelling at police officers, telling them he'd done nothing wrong. He was booked on 1 count of false report of a bomb, which can carry a penalty of up to a year in prison. According to the TSA, Smith made a comment that he had a bomb as he approached the gate area. He posted the $20,000 bail Sunday. 49ers general manager releasing a statement saying they were disappointed in the player.
In 2015, Aldon was released by the Niners and picked up by the Raiders shortly after. The Raiders picked him up despite the fact that he had a suspension looming, stemming back to that hit and run accident that we spoke about earlier. That season, Aldon managed to record 3.5 sacks for the Raiders, but it was short-lived. The inevitable suspension hit and Aldon was suspended from the NFL. He was banned for a full year. But when you're good, man. And despite that, the Raiders still signed him to a 2-year deal, but he wouldn't begin to get paid until after he was reinstated. So they basically just bought his rights, like, all right, bro, nobody else can talk to him during this time. In February of 2017, the NFL announced that Aldon would be reinstated in March. But on March 10th, Aldon was a passenger in a car that, get this, ran into a police cruiser. Okay, Aldon was cooperative but was still detained for being intoxicated. Finally, in March of this year, 2018, Aldon was released by the Raiders after an alleged domestic violence incident where he bit his fiancée on the wrist after drinking multiple bottles of tequila. Then the Raiders put up with a lot, but the domestic violence for them crossed the line. The obvious pattern in all of Aldon's incidents: alcohol abuse. And that battle just continues. He was arrested again in April for basically the same thing. But again, one of the biggest issues was, after every incident, he never really seemed to take full accountability for his action. Today, Aldon Smith remains a free agent, and I honestly don't know that we'll ever see him play another NFL game. It's a shame because dude was a generational talent, but sometimes people just have demons that they can't outrun. And as sad as this story is, I do believe some good did come from it, or it at least helped contribute to something that is positive. I think Aldon's situation may have inadvertently helped other NFL players who struggle with substance abuse. Raiders coach Jack Del Rio was extremely critical of the league rules that forbid suspended players from being at the team facilities. His logic was that having that structure would help the players not succumb to their addictions, as they would have structure and be around the team. He really believed that he and his staff could help Aldon Smith, but the rule put in place by the NFL forbid him from having the kind of contact that he needed in order to be able to impact Aldon. Recently, the NFL has changed that rule. Players suspended for violating the substance abuse policy are allowed at the team's facilities. Now, of course, there are no guarantees, but it is possible that had something like that been implemented sooner, maybe it could have saved Aldon, maybe not. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's what happened to Aldon Smith. I'll catch you next time. FlemLo Raps. One.
Yeah, I'm no quitter, 'cause I'ma go get her.